And he's also known for getting schooled in congressional hearings like this one, in which Candace Owens owns him after he tried to accuse her of advocating on behalf of Adolf Hitler.
I'm going to play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
He is assuming that black people will not go pursue the full 2-hour clip. And he purposefully extracted, he cut off, and you didn't hear the question that was asked of me. He's trying to present as if I was launching a defense of Hitler in Germany, when in fact, the question that was asked of me was pertaining to whether or not I believed that Hitler was whether or not I believed in nationalism, and that nationalism was bad. And what I responded to was that I do not believe that we should be characterizing Hitler as a nationalist. He was a homicidal, psychopathic maniac that killed his own people. A nationalist would not kill their own people. That is exactly what I was referring to in the clip, and he purposely wanted to give you a cut-up similar to what they do to Donald Trump to create a different narrative.
And there it was. And you saw the look on Lieu's face there. Imagine being a U.S. congressman with degrees from Stanford and Georgetown and getting schooled by Candace Owens in the halls of Congress. Now, as it relates to Harvard, Lieu, who was born in Taiwan, likes to say the federal government is biased against Asian Americans. But watch how he shouts at a member of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission for calling out Harvard's anti-Asian discrimination in its admissions policy.
In fact, just yesterday or day before yesterday, I filed a brief in the Students for Fair Admissions against Harvard case in the Supreme Court.
Stop bringing in irrelevant issues. There are more Asian Americans at these Ivy Leagues. Underrepresented. These are different issues happening.
In other words, how dare you bring up actual discrimination and systemic racism? It doesn't fit our narrative, after all. Welcome in the host of the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin, author of Don't Burn This Book, Thinking for Yourself in an Age of Unreason. Dave, this is the point of the show where I hand it over to you and let you speak.
John, you gave me a lot in that intro. I was making notes, and I got a lot of things to say about all this. Well, first off, let's just be clear about one thing, which is that if there is one privilege in America, we're told a lot about privilege these days, if there is one privilege, it is Democrat privilege. And that is what Jeffrey Toobin is getting here, that Alan Dershowitz or Rudy Giuliani or a litany of other people are never afforded, including you and I, and any of your audience watching this would never be afforded Democrat privilege, right? So you're allowed to masturbate on a Zoom call or pay a woman to have an abortion or the series of other things that you're allowed to do where the media will either ignore what you've done or deflect or blatantly lie, whatever it might be. As for Ted Lieu, I actually did a college event that very same day with Candace. She left that hearing and then I met her at a school. And I am so proud of Candace for doing what she did there, because Ted Lieu is the perfect example of what you laid out in the intro, which is this sort of really nothing person who's like a creation of the media and the Democratic establishment. So he thinks he can play an obviously selectively edited clip. Candace Owens in no way supports Hitler. Her point, as she laid out clearly, was about nationalism and that you can be a nationalist, meaning believe in borders for your country and a cultural identity for your people, and you wouldn't kill your own people, okay? So clearly she made her feelings about Hitler clear, but Ted Lieu wants to play a selectively edited clip, and he knows what will happen by doing it. His goal was, I will play something selectively edited, and then the media will run with that, making it seem like Candace Owens is supporting Hitler. And of course, Candace is too good for that game, so it didn't happen. And then one other thing on Lieu, which is that moment that you talked about there. I mean, here is an Asian man basically defending actual systemic racism at Harvard against Asian people. He's an embarrassment as a public official and as a person. I've gotten into it in full transparency. We've gotten into it a little bit on Twitter. I think he's called me racist once or twice.
Maybe once or twice. I mean, that's the thing, though. I didn't intend to make this so much about Ted Lieu, but, you uncover those clips and you just have to point it out. And Candace Owens, in that moment, my favorite part about that clip is Ted Lieu being like, oh, God, I stepped in it here. Now I had to sit and listen to that was embarrassing for Ted Lieu. All right, let's also talk, Dave, about the Biden vaccine push. I had the opportunity to come visit you out in L.A. I would imagine, though, the federal government will not be getting the same kind of hospitality you showed me if they come knocking on your door. Just a guess.
Get unlimited sushi for everybody and all the tequila you could drink. No, government operatives will not be getting that at my house. I mean, this idea that we went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to a year and a half later, we are sending government operatives to your house to find out if you're vaccinated. I mean, this is dystopian stuff. We are in a dystopian future right now in 2021 America. It's nobody's business but yours and, say, your spouse or your family members and perhaps your doctor, whether you've been vaccinated or not. Everyone, as we've all said from the beginning of this, or at least every sane person has said, you have every right to take whatever responsibilities you want and wear a mask and follow whatever, I don't expect somebody to not follow an order at a store, right? So if a store says you got to wear a mask, then you should wear a mask in that store. But everyone has a right to do what they think is right with their body. What happened to these people? My body, my choice.
Right.
They don't seem to be for my body, my choice anymore. Now they're for your body, our choice. So look, no, John, they can't have my sushi and my tequila. There you go.
It was also interesting, too, I don't know if you saw this, but a lot of the left tried to push this back on Candace Owens because she said the same thing about medical choice, and she just shut them down right away. And she said, no, I believe in medical choice. I don't believe in killing innocent babies, which, they were trying to make this about abortion and my body and my choice, et cetera. The other thing, too, I want to talk about is Dr. Fauci as it relates to this. He's getting, his dander up a little bit, getting some confidence. I don't know why, but here he is.
It's easy to get. It's free. And it's readily available. So, you've got to ask, what is the problem? Get over it. Get over this political statement. Just get over it and try and save the lives of yourself and your family.
I mean, it should be easy, right, Dave? We all should just get over it. I mean, the fact that they've been on both sides of basically every major issue when it comes to the pandemic, mask, no mask, social, whatever. But Dr. Fauci says we should just get over it. So, I mean, I guess we're going to, right?
Well, John, let me say this. I actually don't think that's overconfidence by him or somehow like a new robust confidence. That shows complete desperation. What he's realizing is that despite everything that they've done, a certain amount of people have some healthy skepticism about this whole thing, which, 3 years ago, if you had some skepticism about the government, that would be a thing that the left would care about, right? Like, right. You shouldn't trust these crazy warmongering capitalists or something like that. But now we're get over it. I mean, his demeanor as if you should never question anything that the government tells you. You have every right to do that. You have a duty to do that. I mean, it's actually, I say this to you all the time, John, but this is the thing that separates us from the animals. We have the ability to think and use logic and reason. Now, I'm not saying don't get vaccinated if you want to get vaccinated, but for him to basically be like, get over it, you have to just do it because we say it. And also, there's a further point in that clip where his implication is that you're still going to be killing people if you don't get vaccinated. This disease, this virus, which we know 97 basically to 99.5% recovery rate for people who aren't vaccinated. They tried to scare the hell out of everybody, 2 weeks ago with Delta variant. That didn't quite do it. Now they're working on a new one. It's like, you know what? A healthy skepticism of the government or of any system of power, I thought that was something that a free person would want to believe in. Right. But he's using guilt, basically. You're going to kill grandma, as if it didn't happen enough in the last year and a half.
Yeah, I was thinking they were just going to go ahead and skip ahead to the Omega variant because it just sounds more ominous, and that's really what they're going for here. Dave, great to see you as always. And, an important thing too about your book, when it relates to Dr. Fauci, I just want to make this point real quick, is thinking for yourself doesn't mean, I'm going to put my medical expertise up against Dr. Fauci. It means going to your doctor and having this conversation. Doctor, the federal government tells me I should get the vaccine. What do you think I should do, Doc? Because you know my medical history and records a lot better. And that's the kind of stuff that we try to apply here. But, if we, God forbid, we don't comply with St. Fauci, right?
John, be informed. Don't be a mindless drone. And you're welcome for tequila anytime.
All right, Dave. I only had one shot, just to be clear. And I took an Uber. Everything was perfectly above board. Dave, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Good seeing you.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.